So, Chloe, you're one of Zimbabwe's success stories. You made several internationally acclaimed movies, and you've got involved in many organizations to help Zimbabwe. What do you see yourself most as after living 3 continents? Is Zimbabwe still the country you relate most to?
I see myself as Zimbabwean. It was where I was born, where I was raised, and I find when I'm with Zimbabweans, I never have to explain myself. They just get it. So yes, I see myself as Zimbabwean.
And you also acted in a few films. Was acting something you always wanted to do?
Definitely, yes. From when I was very little, as soon as I could work out that people in films weren't real, that they were acting, I knew that was what I wanted to do. And I used to sort of live in an imaginary world as a kid, and well, I still do, except now it's work. But yes, there was never really another option. It was what I always wanted.
Can you tell me about your film Next Door to the Valenskys?
Next Door to the Valenskys is a story about a child abuse victim who, as she's grown up, has forced herself to forget the trauma that she went through as a kid by building this imaginary world. And she's turned to a life of drugs and alcohol, and it's her way of coping. And then she meets up with James, who's played by Matt Doran, who is her childhood friend. And he has to force her to remember the trauma that she went through as a child so that she can move on with her life.
Was that a difficult role to play?
It was very difficult. I interviewed many child abuse victims and talked to them about how they'd coped. And, it was incredibly difficult because this is a role where the character has built this imaginary world and that's her way of surviving. And when James comes in and absolutely shatters that world and forces her to face the stark reality, it is very, very difficult for her to do so. So it was a very challenging role.
I remember a few years ago you were in the cover of Out of Africa magazine. Was that for a Zimbabwe campaign you were involved with?
That was very flattering. I was interviewed for the magazine, and I was really pleased when I saw myself on the cover. But yeah, it was. I went to America. I was living in Australia still for a Save Zimbabwe campaign, which was held in New York, and I met with various celebrities. Andrew Shue was amongst them. He's someone who's been very involved in Zimbabwean campaigns, and I also met with Bill Clinton. And we held a Zimbabwe night where Zimbabweans who had been forced to flee came forward and told their stories. And it was basically to make the world aware of what was happening.
What do you think needs to be done in order to make Zimbabwe the wonderful place it was when you were growing up there?
Change of leadership, free and fair elections, a solid plan to change the infrastructure. I really believe that with a good leader, the country could recover. The Zimbabwean people are wonderful people, incredibly hardworking people. And so I believe with the right leadership, it could again be a wonderful country.
What's near and dear to your heart right now?
What's near and dear to my heart right now, Zimbabwe's children. There is a website, zimbabweschildren.org, where people can go online and can donate to help the children of Zimbabwe. And I think it's really, really important to do this. The majority of children there are malnourished, suffering from starvation, from HIV. A lot of them are orphans. Those who aren't orphans, their parents are, a lot of them are starving as well, or in jobs which pay hardly enough to survive. So I think it's important for all of us who are privileged enough to live in the first world to go online and, just donate a small amount that will really make a difference to a child's life.
Thank you so much, Chloe Traicos.
Thank you.